Greetings, everybody. Welcome in. It's me, Keith Billick, your host of the Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast. If I seem a little rushed or high-strung, it's not because I drank too much coffee today. It's because I am frantically getting ready to shove off for not just one, but 2 banjo camps. Recording this is one of the last things I do before I head out to the first stop is Midwest Banjo Camp. That's this weekend if you're listening to it right away, and then almost as soon as I get back from that, I will be flying out to the inaugural Bluegrass Pride Camp out in Astoria, Oregon. So needless to say, I have some packing to do, some lesson plans to finalize, but I didn't want to leave you all hanging for the several weeks without some banjo podcast to listen to, and perhaps some of you are even hearing this on your way to one of those camps. And I gotta say, if you're gonna be there, you better track me down, and if you give me the secret Picky Fingers handshake, I'll make sure you get a free sticker. And I'm just kidding, there's no real handshake. I'll have stickers for everybody. But please come and say hi. For any of you who will not be at one of those banjo camps, you can still get your stickers along with your other official Picky Fingers podcast merchandise. Head over to banjopodcast.com. Go to the shop. I just restocked the t-shirts, folks, so they are available in all sizes and colors. Get them while supplies last. That's banjopodcast.com. And of course, I can't forget to send out a bunch of love to my VIP supporters of the show. Those are my very important pickers, and they went over to patreon.com/banjopodcast. And you can do that too. It's less than the price of a cup of coffee, at least one of those coffees at those fancy hipster places that are around. So yeah, just a few dollars per month really helps support the show. And there are bonus prizes in return. So check that out, patreon.com/banjopodcast. Become a VIP or email the show, pickyfingersbanjopodcast@gmail.com.
If you ever need me, then maybe I'll come back. I hear that train a-coming, just coming down the track. Lonesome feeling, Sand Mountain Blues. Well, sitting by the railroad, just waiting for a train. Gonna catch a midnight special and walk back again. Lonesome feeling, Sand Mountain Blues.
It's a freshly picked episode, folks. Today we are listening to Fit for a Dog, which is the new album by Frank Evans. Now, even though this is Frank's debut solo album, he is no stranger to the podcast. If you rewind your feed back to episode 76, you can hear all about Frank's career and approach to banjo playing. But today we're catching up with him to talk about his new album, which features a whole bunch of Nashville's finest musicians, and Frank is certainly in that category. He was the longtime banjoist for the Slocan Ramblers and is now one of the most in-demand banjoists on the scene today, including his main touring act in the Bronwyn Keith Hines Band. But with all that going on, it was great to listen to Fit for a Dog, which showcases some of Frank's singing, compositions, and of course, outstanding banjo playing. So put your hands together and give a warm Picky Fingers welcome back to the podcast for Frank Evans. All right, Frank, welcome back. Great to see you and speak with you again.
Thanks for having me back on the show.
Yeah, anytime. So we are here to discuss your brand new album, which is called Fit for a Dog. When does this come out? When can people actually get a hold of the thing?
It'll come out May 29th. So that'll be available, then. Just sort of releasing singles as we go.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely familiar with your work, especially with like going back to the Slocan Ramblers, and I think the last interview we did was basically right as you were releasing that duo album with Ben Plotnick.
That's right, yeah, I think you came to the CD release.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. It was a fun time. What made this the best time? Or I guess the first question would be, is this the first Frank Evans solo record?
It is, and It's actually been kind of in the works for a long time. I just figured, living here in Nashville, you're amongst so many amazing musicians, and I kind of want to just like capture just my time here in case I, decided to move and do something else. It was just sort of a little insight into what I've been up to the past couple of years. And so I started a while ago, but then have been pretty busy with other things. Haven't really had time to get back into the studio. And so it's, over the years of just sort of recorded a track here and there. And then finally it's all done.
Yeah, wonderful. That was exactly my point of view. I see you being really busy with other things. I'm like, I don't know how you found time to squeeze this in, but I guess that's how it works. You can do it piece by piece.
Yeah, and it's also, it's tricky. I kind of really wanted to get as much of the same band on the whole record as possible. So to get 5 musicians, the same musicians in the same room, it's a feat to do it once, but to do it like 12 times was kind of tricky.
Yeah, it's asking a lot. So I guess the first track, TJ's Last Ride, this whole album has top-notch playing, which we'll cover, but something I really love about this whole record and about, you in general is your song selection. You have a real knack for finding songs that fit your voice and your style. And in my mind, it also balances that really cool line between finding like under-the-radar gems that are also like catchy and accessible. And I think this one is the perfect example. So I guess start with that. What attracted you to this song? And is there something about it that made it a good fit as like a kickoff tune for the record?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of a thing I like to do, is to find sort of undiscovered songs. And I think a big influence was for me for that was one of the first bluegrass bands I ever saw coming from Toronto. There was a band up there. They're now called the Lonesome Ace String Band, but they used to have this band called Crazy Strings, or also they would go on the road and they would call themselves the Foggy Hogtown Boys. Great band. Of this Canadian bluegrass band, but they were kind of masters at that, like just finding old songs that weren't kind of in the common repertoire, and they would play it. And it was always really cool for me to see that start to make its way into the sort of the general bluegrass repertoire, and you'd see their songs, people would hear it on their records, and you would hear it at a jam, and that always made a big impression on me. So that was kind of a thing I wanted to do with this record, to just make it like a bunch of songs that people could play at a jam where that'd be fun to pick. And so this one, I've been listening to this one for a while. It's an old Roger Miller song. Huge fan of Roger Miller, grew up with the Robin Hood soundtrack and everything. And everything he does is kind of amazing. But something about this chorus, it just kind of fit for a perfect bluegrass song. So I kind of wanted to kick off that, the album with this feels like a party,
Still I would drop by and we'd sit and reminisce. I'd stare across the rivers not to watch him cry. Laid him down slow in the ground slow. Laid him down slow while I dry my eyes. Laid him down slow in the ground slow. Laid him down slow. It's old TJ's last ride. Here we stand with our memories and our prayers, mourning and a crowing down to the youngest child.
Yeah, and I know it's already made its way into like your live repertoire too. I've seen some clips out there of the band playing this one. So apparently it's worked. You're spreading it.
Well, we had one night where a bunch of people were singing along to it. So I don't know if they heard my version or if they are fans of Roger Miller, but it was fun.
Amazing. This is probably a tough thing to identify, but is there something about when you hear these songs that you know that it would be good for your specific voice, or do you just kind of assume that your natural sensibilities, if you like the song, then you're going to be able to render it in a good way?
It can be tricky to find that out, and there were a bunch that huge fans of the songs, tried it, and I just couldn't really capture what I wanted out of it, and so we just canned it. So there was 3 or 4 that just never made it on the album, just because it was like, this would be great for someone else to sing, but it's just not really fit for me.
Not your thing, yeah.
So it was a bit of trial and error, but that one worked out. It's really fun to sing, and the players were all amazing. That was Justin Moses singing and playing dobro on it, and the band was really fun.
Yeah, that's cool. And then another great song find is the next one, Down Where the Wildflowers Grow. This is a real groovy song, and I feel like bass players go unnoticed. But I think something that really popped out on on this one to me was Mike's playing, Mike Bubb playing the bass. And he's obviously one of the best.
Yeah.
That's no surprise, but it's just a great example of him having the perfect feel, not only for like the bouncy swing rhythm, but knowing all the right places to put in the walking lines and keep this one moving.
Well, she's a girl that I admire. She's a girl that sets my heart on fire. Marry her is my desire. Down where the wildflowers grow.
There's so many good bass players who, and playing bass in a bluegrass band is harder than it sounds. I think they get kind of all the jokes directed at them, but it's really, really tricky. And a lot of people who are fantastic bass players struggle with making it sound right. And so it's always amazing to play with a great bass player. But the thing I love about Mike's playing so much is that he has his own voice and his own tones and all his own sort of like lines that he plays. And so I can almost always hear when it's him on a record, especially those Dell records, the old Del McCoury records, where it's like I can tell that's Mike's playing. I can hear a little bit of the fretboard noise, and like everything about it is just so unique, and I really wanted that sound. So he plays on every track on the record, and oh man, it was so much fun, especially in rehearsal.
Oh wow, yeah. What's an example of what do you mean by that?
He's good at arrangements and that kind of stuff, but sometimes you'd bring these songs that wouldn't be a bluegrass song to start off with, so you have to sort of create the general soundscape for them to, and so sometimes it's hard to just kind of dictate how you want that, or just to kind of vocalize what the exact vibe you're going for. And he was just really quick at picking those up, and he would, at all the right moments where you'd want to build, he would do it, the first time or something like that. He would just really get it. It's very intuitive. And also it's fun to work with a band that, he's worked with Shad Cobb so much. They play in the Tim O'Brien band, and he's watched Casey grow up as a kid, and all these players who were on the album, they're like a really close-knit group of friends. So that was kind of fun, and sometimes got a little distracting in the studio.
Yeah. In a good way.
In a great way. Yeah.
This one's also a perfect showcase of something that I really admire about your banjo playing, which is you take a song like this, which kind of has an old school country vibe to it, but your banjo playing still has some modern approaches and techniques, but it doesn't feel out of place, which isn't always an easy thing to do.
Good. I'm glad.
I guess my question would be like, is that just a lot of trial and error on what is going to work and what doesn't? Or is there a certain way that you approach trying to bridge that gap of, being expressive in your own way, but still have a traditional feel to it?
Yeah, it's a funny question. I got Casey Campbell to help produce. We sort of co-produced the record.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot to like know when to make calls on your own record. And it's nice to have an outside opinion just to, for counsel. And I went into this, can't remember the first couple tracks we recorded, but I sort of like wrote some solos to play, just because I wanted to be efficient with time and make sure I was happy with something. And then I kind of like, all the musicians were so amazing that they kind of created this perfect bed for you to play on. And the stuff that I ended up using was stuff that I would just kind of improvise in the moment. And I just liked that sound. It just felt more playful.
Would you say that most of your playing is improvised that we hear on this record?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely practiced all those solos quite a lot, so there was like ideas I could float between. But that was definitely the first time I'd ever like recorded something where I wasn't, like really dedicated to some or a couple different ideas and just sort of let it flow. And that was really inspiring. And then I would kind of let Casey pick which solos he thought worked. And he almost always picked the ones that were, a little bit outside the box, and just kind of with the point of it being, it's like, this is who you are, this is how it sounds, and you might as well make a record that sounds like Frank. So I'm glad that we kind of went that direction.
Very cool. Specifically on this one, you do this, it's going to be tough to describe, but the up the neck pattern, you have like a descending pattern where it's oh
yeah.
Do you think about that? Like, I'm trying to use my imagination. It almost sounds like something a steel player could play.
Yeah, I mean,
is that how you think of it?
A lot of these songs are kind of old country songs. And so I definitely was listening to a lot of, and I'm a huge fan of Jerry Reed. Like, I listen to Jerry Reed all the time. And so he has those kind of little things. That one, I can even play it for you a little bit.
Yeah, please.
It's kind of a fun line there's different variations of it, but it's like a little triplet pattern. It's really easy, which is, kind of makes it nice. Get under your fingers really quickly.
Even I use that from time to time.
Yeah.
So it's
so if you want a fun little sort of pedal steel or telly line for your banjo playing, you can do these triplets. So like I'm using third and first string, and you can you go down those chords like that, whatever key you want. And if you do it fast enough and you get a little bit of the staccato notes, you get... So those ones are that kind of pedal steel sound.
That's what gives it that Telecaster thing, yeah.
And it's always fun. You can always use like double stops on there. That kind of sound.
Yeah,
which is fun.
And come up with your own variations.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, that's considered kind of in the modern category of banjo techniques, but man,
nice.
Goes really well.
Pass the test.
Yeah, I think so. Cecil Blue is an original one. And is Cecil your dog? I feel like I met him.
It's Cecil Blue. The name of that tune comes from, so we got her from the Nashville Humane Society, and they come in like groups of dogs, and they always have these themed names when you get those groups of dogs. So we picked her out, and she was in this group of dogs that was named after shampoos, and so her original name was Selsun Blue, like the dandruff shampoo.
I was going to say, I've never heard of not like I'm plugged into the shampoo market so much, but the Cecil, okay.
Yeah,
that
and
makes
so we
sense
were
now.
trying to find a name that was similar to Selsun, and so we came up with Cecil. She, immediately responded to it, so I figured I had to name a tune called Selsun Blue, or Cecil Blue, rather.
Does she have dandruff?
You know what? She actually did. So that might have been why they named her. We've gotten rid of it so far, but yeah, she's a sweet little dog. But this one was doing. I've seen you play a lot of stuff that's like out of open E and B flat and that kind of thing. It's kind of a fun just project to have, to play like an instrumental tune that's not in G, D, or C, or kind of the standard keys out of open. So this one kind of came from that, where it was like utilizing that open B string a lot.
Yeah.
And you can get those kind of sounds.
Yeah, and an approach that it seems like you used with this was having a lot of like repeated melodic figures, but with changing harmony underneath it.
Yeah.
Where it kind of recontextualizes what the melody sounds like. I always think that's a really cool and maybe an underutilized technique, and that might be just because that's a hard thing to do by yourself. So maybe people just don't think to do it. I don't know. Is that a thing for you, or how did you work that out?
This one, it was definitely that kind of thing where you have that sort of sound, those like up to the six and back, but you can get different chords out of it. So I think, I was kind of trying that approach where you have the same melodic phrase with different chords under it. But I think it just came from mostly fooling around with these, like the C sharp sort of sevens, sort of that kind of sound.
And that's another telly thing right
exactly.
there.
And it's got a great song that's sort of like that. There's I think definitely was an influence for me on this one. There's a John Hartford song on aerial playing called Symphony Hall Rag. Whereas, I'm gonna butcher this, or something like that. And I just that kind of sound. I've always loved that sound with lots of like 3s and 6s in the chords and stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense now that you mentioned that. I can hear that.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular process for composing in general?
No, I mean, for me, it always comes in waves, like with deadlines and things. Like if there was a record I'd have to make where I was supposed to write a song or two, that always helps. But not really. I do. I record a lot of voice memos of like little ideas. If something pops into my head or I hear something that I was like, oh, I can manipulate that or something. So sometimes I'll just like sit down and go through 700 voice memos that are usually like have no idea what I'm talking about. Or some song lyric that was the most intelligent thing I could think of at the time, and then is complete gibberish. But yeah, every once in a while there'll be a little kind of melodic phrase that I've heard or was playing around with, and I'll just record it and go through those. And if there's enough that kind of seem to be related that you can string them together, something like that, sometimes you get a tune out of it.
Is that how this one happened? Was this a mixture of voice memos?
Yeah, I remember playing around with. I just like that line. So just kind of wanted to write something with that line in it.
A lot of more banjo techniques and creative stuff happening in the solo in this one. There's a lot of technique. I guess I associate this maybe with Wes, but he's definitely not like the only person who does it, where the middle and index and then thumb, index, thumb.
Yeah.
I think
he has a name for it. I think he calls them bounce rolls or something like that.
Could be.
Where, you kind of have a pinch and then... Yeah, I definitely got that from Wes. That's funny that came together. But yeah, I mean, he's talked about other people who've taught him that too. But it's really fun. I think I use it on this song. I've started using it too. It's been fun to use the open G or the fifth string with that, So if you're an E, you get that kind of... that sort of sound. So I think that was probably part of the solo, was playing around with that open G and G sharp kind of that sort of sound.
Yeah. It's also really interesting rhythmically. There's like a rhythmic pattern shift, which is, it almost feels like it shouldn't be as tricky as it is, but we train our right hands to be so machine gunny with the roll patterns that it can be tough to break out of that.
Yeah.
And there's a really interesting part in this piece where you break into kind of the slower triplet timing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a particular way that you trained yourself to get better at doing that, or open your mind to incorporating some alternate rhythms other than just straight eighth notes?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I love that, especially with if you're taking a long solo form like this. Like I kind of, sometimes it's not my favorite if it's straight eighth notes the whole time, It's like kind of nice to switch it up. And I've been playing a lot. We were playing with Reed Stutz and a couple other like really Monroe-y style players on mandolin.
Yeah.
And they do all those kind of lines. It's like, all those kind of Monroe-y downstroke things. And so I wanted to incorporate some of that. And so I've been just kind of working on that, playing that sort of like slow 3 feel over the 4 rhythm, which is definitely doesn't come easy to me. I think of all the things, like, playing different sort of time signatures out of just playing straight eighth notes is really tricky for me. But with enough metronome practice, I hopefully got there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the answer, is that's what it takes is just working on getting in and out of it.
Yeah, and also I made a record this year with George Jackson. We did this old time record he has this trio called the Local Trio, and he's like, one of the best I've ever heard at just kind of playing around in polyrhythms, and he can just sort of think of an idea and just play it. it like broke my brain just to try and get it working. But it was like, it was one of those things you work at it, and then all of a sudden you try and do something that's like a little simpler, but it comes to you a little faster. And so I think that record helped a bit with that.
Yeah, I bet. Let's go to going down to Tampa.
Yeah.
And this is where we talk about the singers. I'm familiar with your singing voice, and I think if someone was to ask me to choose two other singers whose vocal characteristics would probably blend well with yours, I'd probably say Oliver Craven and Caleb Clauder. And apparently you agreed, because that's just like, I saw their names on the list. I'm like, oh my God, it's just perfect.
Settle down, settle down, settle down. Settle down, settle down, settle down. I've got my ticket, and I'll tell you what I think I'll do. I'm going down to Tampa, settle down.
Nice. That was a song that I actually got from my girlfriend Amy, who got it from Mike Seeger. He had been playing that song for a while, and it's an old traditional song. There's a bunch of different verses and different versions of it, but there was no real like bluegrass version of it I had found out there, and I kind of wanted to record something like that. Also, we've been playing around town, and it's kind of started to seep into the general jam repertoire. So there's a Wednesday night jam here in Nashville at the Legion, and I've shown up a couple of times and heard it being played at a jam. So that was kind of fun to like see it already start to creep in.
You heard other people, and it wasn't you who brought it to the circle, like you.
Yeah, it was like other people had heard Amy and I do it before, and so then it's such a catchy chorus, and everyone can jump on the chorus so easily. So I was singing it, and I've played a lot with Oliver here in town, just playing with different gigs. I've subbed into his band, the Sentimental Gentlemen, and we used to have a venue here called Jane's where we play probably a couple times a month with Oliver. But I've always been a huge fan of Caleb, and grew up listening to Foghorn Records and all this stuff. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get him in the studio because he lives on the other side of the country. But he was more than happy to step into a studio over there, and he sent it right back, and it was like no notes, perfect.
Right? Yeah, it works for sure.
Yeah, it was good.
Jane's isn't around anymore?
Jane's unfortunately is not around. No, it was a good place to have, but there's a new place called the Lucky Nut, and it's right across from my house, so that's good, which is kind of fun. So hopefully that might take over, and Wes Corbett has already started doing like a weekly thing there, and so hopefully it'll be the new spot.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. With easier parking, maybe?
With much easier parking, and soon to be pool tables, so we'll see.
Sounds like it's got everything.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt this incredible episode, folks, but I couldn't go any longer without telling you about a few of the official sponsors of the Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast. Are you looking to improve your playing by learning directly from one of the world's most talented players and instructors? It sounds too good to be true, but it's a reality over at pegheadnation.com. With Peghead Nation's streaming video courses in banjo, guitar, mandolin, fiddle, dobro, upright bass, and ukulele, you can learn bluegrass, old time, and plenty of other styles. PegheadNation.com features a great lineup of courses. This is just the banjo section. You can learn beginning banjo or bluegrass banjo with Bill Evans, old time banjo with Bruce Molsky, the banjo according to Danny Barnes, contemporary bluegrass banjo with Wes Corbett, and banjo in the style of Earl Scruggs or J.D. Crowe with Bill Evans. Now, regardless of which one you choose, it's going to have high-quality video and audio production, downloadable notation and tab, play-along tracks, and plenty of tunes. And the best part is that listeners of the Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast get their first month for absolutely free. Go to pegheadnation.com, use the promo code PickyFingers, all one word, all lowercase, at checkout. That's pegheadnation.com, and the promo code is PickyFingers to get your first month free. The Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast is also sponsored by Elderly Instruments. Elderly isn't just a retail store, it is an institution for banjo players and string musicians of all types. Family owned since 1972, the good folks at Elderly have discovered that the secret to becoming the world's most trusted source for new, used, and vintage instruments, it isn't that complicated. you provide the best selection of high-quality instruments and accessories for all price ranges, and then you stand behind those products with the industry's best customer service. If you can't make it to their Lansing, Michigan showroom, that's okay too. They ship worldwide and are always available to help. Visit elderly.com or call them up at 517-372-7880. And speaking of family businesses, Eric Sullivan of Sullivan Banjos knows a thing or two about that. The Sullivan family has been at the forefront of the banjo-making world for decades now. I bought my Sullivan banjo brand new in 2004, from Elderly Instruments, by the way, and I swear that it sounds better and better every time I play it. The great news is that the famous tone and craftsmanship of Sullivan banjos is still available. Give Eric a call at 502-365-5022 to discuss building your dream banjo today, or visit sullivanbanjo.com. That's 502-365-5022 or sullivanbanjo.com.
The Picky Fingers Banjo Podcast is sponsored by Bluegrass Country Radio, America's oldest bluegrass, old-time, and Americana station. Shows are curated by real DJs, not computer algorithms. From classic bluegrass and traditional country to the best current artists, you'll find it all streaming at bluegrasscountry.org and on the station's free smartphone apps. That's bluegrasscountry.org.
Sand Mountain Blues. I don't really have too many specific questions other than this is kind of like the standard shred and bluegrass tune on the record. So maybe this is a good time to go down the list of, you said you wanted to have like a steady band for most of the record. So do all the introductions, shout outs of who you have playing on this.
Yeah, this was a song, it's like I got this, my sort of dream team in the band, in the studio, and just wanted to play a really fast bluegrass, simple bluegrass tune with them just to hear what they could do. It was really fun. So the band is Shad Cobb, who's one of my favorite fiddle players. He's played on everything, tours with everybody, but also has this this is the sound that's his unique double stoppy sound and all these ideas that are very, very unique to his sound, and I really admire his playing a lot. Casey Campbell's on mandolin. He's been an old pal of mine. He's subbed into the Slocan Ramblers before, and we've traveled across the UK and all across this country. And one of my favorite mandolin players. He really blends that line between like kind of Monroe-y style, but also these interesting kind of chordal shapes and super just good tone all the time. I first saw him play when he was playing with the Brian Sutton band. Okay. And then Mike Bubb on bass, who you just can't beat for this kind of song,
Yeah.
He's perfect. And Gaven Largent on dobro, who used to play with East Nascrash and now plays with Dan Tominski Band.
Yep.
And again, it's just
Brilliant.
sort of this thing where it's like he has his own voice on it, and it just really, it's fun and playful, and it was just really fun to play with those guys.
Yeah, that's cool. And we also did not give a shout out to Maya devitry yet, doing not vocals on this track, but she's on a fair bit, and she's just like a secret weapon with what she can do.
Yeah, it's amazing. We got her in the studio, and it was just like I had some ideas of what harmonies I would want her to sing, and then she would try all those and be like, "Yeah, it's good. What if I tried these?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's better.
That's better." That's why you hired the pros, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you mentioned being a big Jerry Reed fan, so that brings us to, what's the title of this one? Let's sing our song.
Let's just sing our
song.
I should check that. It's Let's Sing Our Song. You're right.
So another amazing song selection, and I'm detecting a hint of like Cajun two-step feel on this one.
Yeah.
Was that in the original?
There is a fiddle line. I can't remember if it's doubled or not, but there's that sort of classic fiddle line that's in there. And it was funny with this song, sometimes it's just like a song will just kind of be in the ether, and everyone is picked up on it. So I was recording this song, and we finished the studio, and then the very next day, it was like a Thursday, and the very next day, this band, the Hogslop String Band, great old-timey band, released a single, and it was Let's Just Sing Our Song by Jerry Reed. I was like, oh, well, whatever. There's 2 versions of it out there. And so then we finished, and we came back the next day and started working on it again. We didn't quite get it the first day. And I started singing it, and Sean Sullivan, the engineer, was like, man, I've heard this song somewhere. And he had just recorded it with Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland. so
this is the third.
This is the third option. So take your pick.
Within like a year.
Yeah, it was all. It felt like it was meant to be.
Well, never mind. I was complimenting your innovative song choices. I take it all back. Yeah. You're just you just copy other people.
Yeah. I will say I did record this before I heard anyone else do this version. So
sure,
it did.
We'll go with that. Yeah. The next one is Pierce Road Waterline, and I have to admit that when I heard you had your own recording, I was expecting more clawhammer, because in general, I've known you as pretty close to a 50-50 kind of guy. So I don't know. Talk about that. I guess I was just a little surprised that there weren't at least a couple other clawhammer tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I love playing clawhammer, and I wanted to get at least one track on there. And there were some others that were recorded, didn't make it. But I also find like I really wanted to be conscious of a record that was sort of related to, all the songs were related. Sometimes, it's easy to, like, if you're inspired by a bunch of things, to just play all those separate things, and it just makes this very kind of,
yeah, the kitchen sink.
The kitchen sink a little bit. So I wanted it to be a little more streamlined. So I did scrap some of the other stuff. But this one seemed to fit in. And it is a fun song. I've been playing around with putting like Keith tuners on my clawhammer banjo. So I switched between like double C tuning, and then the B part, you tune the third string G down to an F. And it's almost exactly in this F tuning that you can play. Like a lot of people play Last Chance. So sometimes it's called Last Chance tuning. So it's pretty close to that. You have
so say the whole tuning.
Yeah. So the first one would be double C, which is from the first string. It'd be D, C, G, C, G on your fifth string, and then you tune the third string down to an F. So then you'd be with D, C, F, C, G. Oh. And for real Last Chance tuning, you would tune your fifth string down to an F as well. But I kind of got by without it. It's a banjo.
Yeah, very cool tune, another original. Maybe you just answered my question with the Keith tuners. What is the sound that I'm hearing? I thought it was a plucked fiddle, and maybe it is, but it kind of also sounds like a fretless banjo. What is that?
It's exactly in between of what you guessed. It's a fretless mandolin.
Oh.
Yeah, so Casey had it.
Crazy.
I saw him, he posts these amazing videos of just himself playing on his couch. And he had one of those one day, and he was playing something, I think it was Maiden's Prayer, something really, really cool and slidey. And I was hearing this song, and so we were working up these songs together before we even got in the studio. And I was like, could you play something on that fretless mandolin? And he's always up for trying that stuff, and so it was perfect. And so I got him to record this solo on it, which the goal of it was to be like, what is that? Is that the banjo still? It was sort of like kind of hard to distinguish what it was, but
it worked.
Nice.
Yeah, it mostly sounds like fiddle, but usually when fiddlers do pits, it's the finger tone on the strings, and I could tell it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But then I don't know.
And it's got the doubled string sound.
I was stumped.
It's really hard to play. In case anyone wants to pick up the fretless mandolin, maybe start with the fretted and then.
The next song is Ain't No Way. Very cool song. I do have a banjo technique question on this one.
Okay.
There's something that I'm hearing you do that I hear a lot in jazz, which is this arpeggiated triplet leading up to like a target note.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a selfish question because this is something that I'm kind of working on trying to incorporate a little better into my own playing. But what's your strategy or technique into getting more comfortable with that?
You know what? I can't think of the exact example in the solo, but I know what you're talking about. It'd be something like...
Yeah.
So the way
but maybe with a different arpeggio, like... what were you just doing? Like just a major chord?
Yeah, major chord.
Yeah, a little
that
more
sort
like,
of thing. There's a couple
like
ways,
a transition chord. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the way I've always played those is if you have a 4-note chord, like you're in open G tuning, so you're playing like an F shape. You could slide into that first note as your triplet, right? So you don't need to double up with your right hand. And then you can start with your middle finger on whatever string on the first string. That kind of sound. And also, you can do fun things where you go... that kind of sound.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
That's good. Also, the other way that I learned, actually from Gabe Hirschfeld, actually, he taught me how to do this, is if you do a triplet on the third string, let's say, so we're using third, second, first, you go thumb, index, middle, and then you start the line with your thumb again on that first string. So you kind of double up on the first string.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do that all the time. That's kind of more of a common banjo-y trick.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other four note, if you're using all four strings, can be kind of fun. It's also a little easier to hear chord shapes, if you're trying to do something jazzy or something, that kind of sound.
Right. I think the thing that trips me up about it, and it's just a matter of getting used to it, is the fact that you have to think of your target note a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah, there's a little
rather than just play it.
Reverse engineering and yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think that's what gets me. I can't think that far into the future. Just one note at a time, right in front of me.
I know how you feel.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about the recording. So this will be story time.
Okay, perfect.
So everyone sit back. So last night I'm listening to Frank's album, obviously impressed with the singing and everyone's performance. I couldn't get over how perfect every instrument sounded, and the mix overall was just real clean and perfect. Everything sounds acoustically natural, no unnatural compression, no like hyped EQ, no excessive reverb, like everything was just right. And then I caught myself remembering that I had the same thought about like the last two freshly picked episodes that I did, and those were for the albums Wes Corbett's Drift album, and then also Max Wareham's Dadgummit album. And I thought the same thing about those. So all of a sudden I'm feeling really profound, like, oh, we're in a golden era of acoustic recording and this is amazing. But then it occurred to me that both of those other records were recorded by Sean Sullivan at the Tractor Shed. So I text Frank, I'm like, was this recorded by Sean Sullivan? And you're like, yes, it was. And I was like, I knew it. So we got into a little bit of a convo, but we decided that maybe we should just cover it here. So needless to say, if you can't tell already, I'm like really impressed. You're not supposed to be able to fit all these bluegrass instruments into a mix and have them each sound so vibrant and clear. Talk about what the experience was, and if you know what he's doing with this sorcery.
Right. Well, to answer the last question, no, I have no idea what he's doing with this sorcery. But I've been lucky enough to make a bunch of records with him since moving here, and there's just something about he's done so much bluegrass that he has like a very particular idea of what mics go on what instruments, and you just kind of trust his process. And the thing I like about it is that it kind of takes the like stress out of the recording. Like sometimes when you show up and you're getting sounds for like half a day, and then it's like, okay, now we go. It sort of adds this extra pressure where you just show up and he's always ready, and he's always easy to work with. And but yeah, something about the sounds that he gets it's just perfect every time. And he's used different things on the banjo a couple times. This last one, he used a U89, which is kind of a popular Neumann mic for the banjo. A lot of people use it. Bela uses it. But there's just the way that he captures the songs, and the studio itself is a fun kind of fun vibe. So the guy who owns the studio is a guy Mark Howard, who's an amazing engineer as well. Yeah, played in the Hartford String Band and all these kind of cool, great mandolin player as well. And he was helping John Hartford develop the wooden tone ring kind of model for his banjo, and they work together a lot. And so they have all the lightings in the studio are these banjo heads that they've turned into lamps. And what they actually are reject models of the John Hartford idea. So it's got a little bit of bluegrass history in there as well, which is kind of fun.
Very environmentalist. Reusing, recycling the banjo heads. Yeah,
it sounds cool. It's kind of, it's really close to in town Nashville, but you're out near, there's like a whole field with horses and cattle and stuff like that. So it's got a good vibe to it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the U89. Was that pretty much the setup for this whole record? Is a U89 on the banjo, or was there a second mic used? Or
I think so. There'd be occasional song. I mean, this is where the sorcery comes in, where you'd play a song and he would know what sounds were needed, and they weren't always the same tones. Like certain songs, he would change out the bass mic. Like so I think he took the U89 from the banjo a couple of times. Where it was like, oh, we need this over here, and he would switch it to a different instrument because you'd play a different song in a different key, and for whatever reason it was like boomy or something, and he would switch out the mics, and then it would be like, oh yeah, it's cleaned up, everything sounds great.
That's crazy. Yeah, especially, in fact, I guess to go back, is it I'll Never Make It My Home? Is that the one where are you playing in like open E or something? There's one song has like a low tuned banjo.
Yeah, and it's actually one of John Hartford's old banjos that. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Mark has that at the studio. You can use it. It's tuned, I think, normally to. It's really low. Like it's tuned like open D or C or something like that. So I brought some lighter strings and tuned it up to E, like the low E. But yeah, there's a track that on East Nashgrass they recorded, and it's called.
That was the other one that I've done an episode on. Yeah,
Iris,
okay.
The Iris
that's
one.
Another one.
Corey plays that low C-tuned banjo on that one. It's John Hartford's banjo.
Yeah, and it's amazing how clear it comes through, because those things can definitely get a little just muddy when they're tuned that low. But man, it's loud and clear.
He also, I mean, I've never recorded, like usually people who have recorded with sort of put a microphone right in front of the banjo. He seems to really like it at like, hard to describe here, kind of if you were facing me, it would be at sort of like 1 o'clock and quite far off. So it'd be just above, where the neck hits the pot on the top side. And it seems to really kind of help with like pick noise or something. It gets rid of a lot of pick noise.
And by far off, what do you mean? Like 3 feet?
No, not that far, but like maybe 8 to 10 inches from the banjo, and then 7 or 8 inches sort of north of the banjo kind of.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. He's getting good results, and sorcery or whatever. Yeah. That's what you pay him and trust him for.
Yeah. He's also got the credentials to back it up. I did some dog sitting for him a couple weeks ago, and he's got a whole shelf of Grammys just sitting there. So.
Oh, geez. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of the banjo tones, what banjo are we hearing for this record?
For the most part, it's just this parts banjo I've been playing and really enjoying it. I play it live these days. It's a weird mix of things. I got it from Jim Britton, who's sort of amazing banjo player, but also a buyer and seller down here.
Yeah.
And he runs a thing called Sears Banjo. And I texted him and was like, I'm looking for something that, I could travel with and not be too precious about. And he's like, well, I actually have this kind of weird parts banjo with me that I'm selling for not too expensive. You can come down and play it. It sounds pretty good. And so I really liked it, and I have no idea what it's made out of. I know that the rim is from a blackjack, like a 2000 early 2000s Crow model thing.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I have no idea. I got a neck made for it by Tim Davis, so it's kind of like a fancy, radiused, thick neck sort of thing. But other than that, I couldn't tell you what it is. But I just really like the sound of it.
Is that your primary performing banjo too? Is that kind of the one that you grab?
Yeah, I used to play like a style 11, third, and I sold that because I don't use it anymore. And I bought a backup banjo that was kind of fancy. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff coming through Nashville, so you get sort of first dibs on it. So I bought a style 1 that I converted and just don't really play it ever. So it's nice to just have the one thing that you really settle into and you're comfy with, and you know how it's going to react.
Of course. Did we mention that George Jackson is on 1 or 2 tracks on this too?
I don't think we did.
I know you mentioned his name, but maybe we didn't specifically say that. So I want to make sure we shout out George. You already said how talented he is, and I totally agree. I'm a big fan of his. But,
so George Jackson played on the Pierce Road Waterline. And just because it's a Kleinheimer tune, I kind of wanted someone with a slightly more like old-time bowing style. And funnily enough, we recorded it, and then he did something at the end. We got him recorded in pieces, sort of, and then he doubled his line by accident. Like we pressed record and forgot to like mute the other track, and so it's actually George doubled up by accident.
And you left them both in?
Yeah, just why not?
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and looking forward to making a new one at some point. I don't know. Do you have a solo record in the works?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. We'll see.
It's really hard to know what to do, you know?
Yeah, I'm also not a singer, so I'm kind of just happy being a sideman. Every once in a while, I'll get weird thoughts about doing a banjo album, but whatever, hasn't happened yet.
I mean, some of my favorite, like I love that Craig Smith solo record.
Yeah.
And, you know, he doesn't sing on it. He just plays amazing banjo, and it's, you know, it's on rotation all the time. I listen to that one all the time.
Yep, agree. Do you have your own website, or how can people track this down?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on the social medias, as they say, the Instagram, Facebook. Yeah. I guess that's it. I don't have TikTok, but also my website is just frankevansmusic.com, and it'll have all the info there. And I also have posted all the like show dates. I'll be playing with Bronwyn this summer and a couple other folks. So yeah, you can see all those shows up there.
Yeah, I already expressed my extreme distress rather, about you not coming to Michigan. So maybe I'll just have to like leave my house for once and, you know, come back to Nashville or track you down somewhere else, because I'd love to see that band. I'm a big fan of everyone involved in that.
Oh man, it's been so much fun. This just such a great group of people. Like, it's really fun to travel with them. And then there also happen to be like all my heroes on their instruments. So
killers,
yeah.
That's amazing.
We're playing in very close to Sand Mountain tomorrow, so we'll have to play maybe a little Sand Mountain blues.
I hope so. I do want to know. Mm-hmm. I love the cover in the big time-honored dispute between dogs and cats. I'm definitely like a dog person, so I love it. It's you sitting with. These are well-behaved dogs.
Well, yes, they are.
Or is there a story behind how you got? How many of them are there? Like 8 or something?
The story of it was.
It's Frank sitting on a porch, by the way, and you're surrounded by dogs who are all just sitting there, perfectly happy.
There's back to Jerry Reed. There's one of his covers is him, and he's surrounded with all these like little children. He's kind of giving this performance to them, and it's just this sort of fun atmosphere. And I don't have any children of my own, and I didn't want to borrow other people's children, so I thought maybe we could do something like that, but with dogs. And I got all our friends out. We had bought them all pizza, and then they would wrangle their dogs onto this porch, and then I had like, you know, half a millisecond to go get into place and take a picture. And we actually got one out of it, which is kind of amazing. I have a whole reel of just this mayhem and people
outtakes.
Yeah. I did have to Photoshop someone who had their hand to like tell their dog to sit and stay, and like if they walked away, then the dog would move. So I had to take their hand out of it. But other than that, it's the real deal.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, you mentioned that you didn't want to borrow people's children's, but we just established how I interviewed Corey about All God's Children album, where they did record like a children's choir. So
right, and they have Nash Greer singing on it or doing that.
Yeah,
right.
Yep, it's Nash. Don't count out the idea just because.
Well, maybe next album, or we'll do cats and then people's children. They'll be old enough by then to sit down. Cats,
the famously herdable animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Frank. Well, I think we covered it. Highly recommend tracking down the record. Great playing, great singing, great sounds all around. So congrats on the project, man. It's awesome.
Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's been fun to make, and look forward to doing more of it.
All right, cheers. All right, folks, this is my stop. I am going to go finish packing my bags for the Midwest Banjo Camp and Bluegrass Pride Camp. I hope to see some of you there. Don't forget to check out those t-shirts over at banjopodcast.com. It's the world-famous official Picky Fingers logo t-shirts, guaranteed to improve your playing. Or become a VIP supporter. Patreon.com/banjopodcast. Help keep this show running. I truly appreciate it and could not do it without my VIPs. You can email the show, pickyfingersbanjopodcast@gmail.com. And that's going to do it, folks. I'll see you all next time.
Nice.